First of all, we created a simple metric we called the creative class about 20 years ago. I was living in Pittsburgh at the time, teaching at Carnegie Mellon, trying to understand why places like Pittsburgh weren't engaging the transition to more tech-driven economies. That's not just educated people. A lot of people look at high levels of education. We look at people who do work in tech, in innovation, in research, in arts and culture. Florida has 2 million of those people. That's an enormous creative class.
I'm very optimistic. I think that South Florida, Florida in general, we have all the ingredients to create a thriving technology sector.
Florida generated dollars. Majority comes from sales taxes.
Yes.
That's how the state of Florida funds itself.
We are developing technologies, a lot of them related to what we're good at. We're good at real estate and architecture and construction. We can be a leader in urban tech. We're good at healthcare and life sciences. We can be, but the one I want to point out when you said Orlando, I was just a visiting professor at MIT in the Sensible City lab that my good buddy Carlo Rotti runs. What did people talk about? The company that's on the leading edge of technology. The most innovative company in America. It wasn't Google, it wasn't Apple, Disney. People in that lab said it's not just about software. Try building those new ride technologies. Try dealing with the civil engineering and city building technology. So we have real technology leaders in our state, sometimes that we don't think of that way.
Florida has the largest manufacturing workforce in the South, like the 7th or 8th largest in the nation. And you don't think about that because
Say that again.
We
that's
have
true.
the largest manufacturing workforce in the South, and I'd have to look again and see where we are in terms of the nation, but I believe it's number 7. We're making satellites now. Florida's going to change the world as we launch 5,000 satellites up into space in the next 5 years.
There are great incentives for larger corporations to move to Florida, and I think we're seeing a lot of that. I Squared Capital from New York, Kaseya. I mean, we have great stories already to tell, but I don't think that our state is offering enough incentives for the smaller companies.
The way our state developed, our big state universities are, I don't mean to say this because they're fantastic, they're in the wrong locations. If those universities were coupled with the University of Miami and FIU and Miami-Dade College and others, so we're spending a lot of our state research dollars in locations that will never be major metropolitan areas. So what do? You can't change that. Our project, the MUFI, Miami Urban Future Initiative, is associated with FIU. This is a spectacular university. Miami-Dade is arguably the best community college in the United States. You think about what did Amazon want when it moved to Northern Virginia? That Virginia Tech would create a major technology campus in and around Arlington. I think the problem in Florida, and it's particularly in the greater Miami area, when it comes to housing, is not housing for tech workers. It's housing for poor people.
Yep.
I mean, it's the
Yes.
I mean, the affordability problem here is because low-wage workers don't make enough to afford housing. Solving for the wage, those wages have to come up. And we also have to solve for housing, but it's a wage issue. The bigger problem facing the state, I still think, is the talent problem.
It's the property values for downtown office, downtown apartments, they've gone up. The property values for suburban office and suburban retail have been flat.
But a 60-year-old entrepreneur is 2 to 3 times more likely to be successful than a young one. What that means is our retirees are a very good source of entrepreneurship. To develop their people, to make them more productive, not just a handout, but a hand up. Yeah, that's something that we need to operate on both ends. The high end, with the high-end talent, the entrepreneurship and the startups, but the bottom of our economy that creates a holistic economy and create pathways for upward mobility for all those folks too.